Hey everybody, my name is Jamie and I can't play guitar. Welcome to the Daily Hangout, July 10th, Part 2, 2023. We're watching videos. We might play guitar. I don't know. I just wanted to get a few videos in for the day, and then I have a lot of editing to do later today, so thanks for joining us if you're here. Anyway, welcome. We're going to watch a bunch of different stuff today. Let's go over what that is. Actually, never mind. We're going to continue watching what we were watching earlier today. If you missed that, it's Foreign Fridays. The problem with dating gurus. So that's going to happen. So, yeah. Anyway, we've got halfway through, maybe we're 43:12 into it, so we'll put this in the description, on the playlist in the description. Foreign Fridays. Go like and subscribe. Foreign Man in a Foreign Land. And did we watch it yesterday? I have no idea. Anyway, let's keep going. Thanks for being here. If you guys want to watch something else, let us know in the comments. Otherwise, we'll be watching this, then we'll be jumping into a few other videos, but you'll have to stay with us to see what that is. So, thanks for joining us today with what's going on with me. Had a super busy day. I've been up since 3 or 4, and I've just been going with editing, so gonna get some relaxation in for a little bit. I'm gonna go grab a fudgesicle while I play this, though, and I'll be right back.
For a date, like know your finances, right?
Yeah.
And then be clear and upfront. This, we're gonna go here.
I don't need a fudgesicle.
You don't have to say this is just because this is what I can afford, but like offer the date that you can afford.
Yeah.
She accepts it or not. If she accepts it, then that's a green flag. If she says no, I want to go somewhere else, or I'm not interested, then that's a stop sign flag. You move the fuck on.
Stop sign flag.
And then if you don't feel comfortable because of your financial situation, or because you don't like the idea of paying for a lot of dates with a person that you don't know your level of interest in, then you communicate that and you say, hey, I want to see you again, and maybe you offer something that is money neutral, like a walk. Like a meetup somewhere that does not cost money, and then you see what that response looks like. And if the response indicates, well, I want to be wined and dined, and that's not a thing, that's a boundary for you, then that's the stop sign flag, and you move on. Present the dynamic that you are comfortable with, and allow her the option of yay or nay.
Yeah. And be clear with that, yeah.
And be clear with it. And when I say clear, I don't mean like I can only afford this, take it or leave it. Be like, this is the thing, and negotiate.
You have to go to McDonald's.
Right, you have to go to McDonald's.
I think that would be romantic, like if you could do that shit right. I think it takes a lot of talent to pull off
McDonald's?
the very mundane dates. I think it takes a lot of like courtship talent. A lot of us mercy, and we ate inside the car, watched the sunset, and we talked. That date cost literally about like $30, maybe a little bit more with gas, and that was honestly more value that I've gotten than when I spend copious amounts of money at a restaurant, because then it's a performance. In fact, like a lot of time, like when I go to a restaurant, like I'm looking around, like I'm trying to figure out, like I'm looking at myself in the context of everything else. But in the moment right there, we're like, what is the date for?
Yeah.
Like the date is to
know.
gain some intimacy.
Exactly.
What you think, Andrew?
You can't. I'm thinking like you can't get like in all these fancy settings, right? It's so much about. It feels like sometimes about the optics. Yeah. Like I'm the kind of guy who loves to hear my partner laugh, right? One of the best dates I ever had, similar to you, on the beach. We get some nice bake. We're just walking back and forth by the water. We joking around, we running around. I accidentally threw her down a couple of times, trying to lift. But we had a good time. And that's far more meaningful to me than, just trying to like flex or whatever. People get so caught up in this conversation of, what's the cost of the date? Oh, this and the other. But you gotta remember, the whole point of the date is to figure out if you're clicking with the person, to figure out if you're compatible, and if you can have a good time with the person. If you're not having fun with the person, are you forcing it?
Because one thing to add is that, like, stop treating these like tokens and like, ways to level up your masculinity. The reason why a lot of those dudes feel so bitter about paying for dates is because they don't even like the women that they're dating. They just want to have sex with them, and they don't even want to enjoy the sex. They just want to say that they did it. And so what they'll do is they'll like spend money on women they don't even like, that they don't even want to be around, just to say that they did it. And so when you reduce the opportunity cost of a date, you're emphasizing the like enjoyment that you'll have with the actual person. You know what I'm saying? There's a better way for me to get that across, but like,
that's perfect.
This whole flexing thing of like, I got to wine and dine, and to be real, the type of women that want that from you are not going to be people that you probably vibe with long term at the same time, because they're more attracted to that facade and to that type of energy. And unless you have that energy innately, you're not going to want to perform that long term or short term. One last piece of advice: broke dating. And I know this somewhat from experience, but also like experience in a marriage, because there was long periods of time when me and my wife were broke, where we had to be creative. And so one thing to do is learn all the cool free things you can do in your town, in your city. Learn about, pay for that museum membership that doesn't cost you anything. Pay for that. Find out where there's like, free music playing, outside or festivals that you can just walk through. Like, keep abreast of those things. That, number one, will give you plenty of opportunities to have fun with a person that don't cost you a lot of money. Two, it'll also make you a lot more interesting, because you have suddenly you've enriched yourself with the knowledge of your city, which any woman is going to find kind of attractive. To know that you understand so much about the environment, they're going to see that as appealing to begin with.
I just want to make a quick point about the hustling, like flex date kind of types, like the guy we have on the screen right now, and people like Andrew Tate, who I have the displeasure of sharing name with. The thing is, I have never gotten the impression from them that they have fun. They have a good time.
That's a good.
That they enjoy being in relationships. Everything is just war and conquest, and we've got to get these women. And
the Matrix.
It's like, all right, the Matrix, and like, please. Please.
No, that's facts. That's absolute facts.
Can you have fun though? Like, can you laugh at yourself though? Like, that's my question. I don't think they can.
I just want to add something. Like, I kind of growing up have fallen into that construct of like dating for some validation, for some conquest, and some like validation of saying I got sex from this person, as opposed to I had a fun night and had sex with someone and it was like actually fun. And so when we're talking like when I'm thinking about that, when I'm thinking about that past versus how my life has progressed and how my views and sort of feelings and that have changed, literally what you're talking about not having fun, I think back and say, oh yeah, actually, like in terms of meaningful human interaction, it wasn't fun. That's not a fun, at the time it feels good and cool. You feel like a good and cool guy, but then in my experience, as you get older and you start to kind of like, it's with my politics as well, you look back and say, oh, actually, I don't think that was actually fun. And I think if that is the end goal for people, the getting there will be just the biggest disappointment possible. Yeah. Like, it will not
Super sad.
It's a very shallow and shitty goal to have at the end of things, but it's very, the message of that, of like, searching for that is extremely popular online for like, all the reasons we've went over. But It's not all it's cracked up to be, I guess is what I'm saying. If anyone's like thinking about that.
And I want to make space for like the dating app part, because not only dating apps, but just like it not having to be, not every date or not every interaction with someone has to be a long-term or like a courtship type of thing. It could literally just be sex. It could literally, and that's like one part, like in fact, like there's this tweet that I want to bring up right now. All of these guys are just like burnt out, like it's like I don't know, like
it's gotta be like their equivalent to like yellow text in the face. Oh, they're all trying to look like Leonidas off of 300. That's what it is.
Zack Snyder filter.
Yes, the Zack Snyder filter. That is literally you. I can't see it now. I know y'all see it.
I see it now. This is killing me. But like this is something that I do want like some like inquest into just like dating apps and profiles and everything like that, and also just ephemeral interactions with folks.
What?
Like, because we're very much like, it looks like the majority of us are in like long-term relationships on here, but like also of our days of debauchery, we could speak to just like some things that have helped potentially like gotten us. I know Andrew is a saint, so I mean like but like for the most part, like as it pertains to just how you can ethically and also, I don't want to say efficiently, but get some sex, and get some sex, bust some nuts out. Like it's something that we do.
Bust some nuts.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but the key thing to remember is that women like sex too. It's so much. I don't know. It's so much that goes into that dynamic. But if you start with that, it will probably alleviate not just a lot of the pressure and like difficulty, but also a lot of the patriarchally ingrained, toxic habits. Where you so much of what, like when I'm always wary about the dating advice stuff, because the nature of patriarchy means that people are basically just asking us, hey, how can I trick girls into fucking me? Like that's what so much of it is, to keep it a buck. And sorry.
That's not.
And so, like, that's not okay. You shouldn't have to trick a woman into having sex with you. You should just find ways to present yourself effectively as a viable sexual partner. And women that want that will hopefully choose you. And then when you get there, do a good job and be pleasure focused and instead of conquest focused. You know what I'm saying? And you'd be surprised, women want to have sex with guys that are fun and attractive, and that's a broad spectrum.
And are generous too.
So that's a broad spectrum of what that means, but it doesn't mean wear this cologne, wait till this time, say these things, press X during the quick time event. Like that's what it sounds like.
Okay, let me see what your boy got to say. I remember like this was interesting, but I think it's a great gateway into like discussing like dating apps, also just like how to engage in hookup culture in general.
Quick time event.
What do you think guys are doing wrong when it comes to dating and attracting girls?
Before you say anything, right? I need to know who that guy's barber is, and he needs to be tried in The Hague.
What the heck, bro? So much of it is online now with all the dating apps, and Instagram is, let's be honest, it's a dating app. Can't believe everyone can buy a blue tick now. Damn it! I look at dating now as product and marketing. Prior to like the internet, you really only had to focus on the product. Am I jacked? Am I charming?
Why is the zoom so dramatic?
They keep zooming and zooming and zooming.
Because this is Sparta, man. I'm telling you, that is what they're doing. These videos are for men. What did he just say? Am I jacked? You know what I'm saying? Like, do I have rippling muscles in my shirt? Top 3 buttons not done. Like, he is not marketing himself to women. This is marketed towards men, specifically boys, that don't understand what viable masculinity looks like to women. But let them continue though. I want to hear what
Making money, connected up a network, that's the product of who you are as a person. But now we have to focus on marketing too. You can have the best product in the world, but if no one sees it, well, it doesn't exist.
Yeah, exactly.
Right?
Well,
How do we
filters,
market
wow.
ourselves online?
That's a fair question, I think. Like, how do you? I mean, like, let's like for a second, like, just also acknowledge that. This is very dehumanizing. What?
No shit.
Drew? What you saying?
Yeah, I mean, commodity, very commodifying. All this. Somebody who hates advertising, hates the advertising industry. I really despise this approach to data conversations.
It's my lazy arc right now.
How do you put
Raise
yourself
your
out there? What is
value.
your SWOT analysis? How do you put yourself on the
That
marketplace
Nazi guy
and
looks
increase
intense
your
as
share
fuck.
value? What is your unique selling point and this, that, and the other? It's like, relax. All right, we're people. We are multi.
Do you like women?
Exactly. And do you like yourself? Because why are you trying to boil yourself down into this like object for sale?
No, I agree with that. Like, this is dehumanizing, and in many ways, dating apps can be dehumanizing because it is literally, it's optimized for a swipe. It's
Meat
it's
market,
the
dog.
YouTube, it's the YouTubeification of dating.
Make it,
you know,
make yourself into clickbait.
yeah, exactly. Like, you're clickbaiting yourself. So like, I think like it's important to one understand that it is a dehumanizing game, but to also figure out, okay, like for disabled folks, like folks that can't like go out all the time and engage in multitudes of people with no masks, or cannot go out at all because of different like chronic illnesses and everything else, like they have, like, a lot of them have to date on dating apps. Like, they have to go throughout dating apps in order to find meaningful relationships. So like, I think it's important, like, once acknowledge that this is not ideal. This is very much commodifying dating, commodifying oneself, minimizing and condensing oneself to be more digestible and consumed by a lot of people at a glance.
Yeah.
That being said,
That's bad.
is there any discourse and advice as to how best we can do this?
This is like a reform or revolution conversation almost about dating, because reform, working within the dating app system to find success, or revolution, rejecting the construct altogether and maybe going without a date for a long time because of it or whatever. I think that's what this content is targeted towards, is the guy that hasn't been on a date in years, or that is like living in places that are, I guess, like, generally people are more antisocial. And so the idea that you'd want to optimize your app performance is
All right, let's get back into it.
When you kind of, it's like you can reason your way into that if you are just like alone, but that in and of itself isn't a good sort of, that doesn't make it healthy, that doesn't make it right, that doesn't make it impossible to find connections with people outside of that construct, you know. But again, it's like working within that system like that you're talking about.
Yeah, to be generous to Leonidas here, you have to, there is a thing to present to yourself in a viable, attractive manner. And that does not have to get into like dehumanizing,
you have to be weird,
you know, hyper capitalist jargon to just say,
nice photos.
I think I look good with this haircut. I think I look good in this outfit. I think I look good in this pose, you know, whatever.
Yeah.
Like those are like normal things. You don't want to be attractive. You don't want to like data source the concept though, or, you know, be so focused on producing an attractive presentation that you've then reduced the you in the equation. You know, you don't want to like present yourself in a way that you don't want to perform and show up as in the actual like courtship and partnership. So like, but also I think another thing that's important is to know what women are actually interested in. Like you don't want to have like, you know, 15 pictures of you flexing in your dating app, because that's not for you. That's for your workout bros. Knowing what's actually attractive and performing that. Like what he's saying here isn't like some awful red pill nonsense, other than the way he's packaging it, if that makes sense. Other than that, he's presenting it. Yeah, the advice here is not as awful as other shit we've heard. It just sounds worse than it needs to be, and it does it in a way that will lead you into worse ways of thinking about this situation.
Because when you see his next video, the reasoning for that, you know, that advice is fuck a bunch of girls and then buy my course on how to make your dick bigger or whatever. Like it's like starting from a normal place and going way away with that. You don't have to do that, but that's what the function of this content creator is, right?
Exactly. And it's just like they're like very close to understanding the dynamics at play. Like these folks, like they're using it, but then they arrive at the wrong conclusion. Like it's just like they understand the dynamics of the social media age and trying to posture in ways that are most likely to position you in order to get proximity to more women.
Right.
But then they use that for exploiting women for the gain of let's be real, like for the gain and like notoriety from other men. Like they don't, as you all said before, like they don't really care to enjoy the sex a lot of the times, because they're so caught up on the power and the conquest of it that they could then retell to other folks. Sometimes they film it just so they could send to their brethren and things like that, but also so that they could just feel in that moment, even if nobody else hears about it, so they can feel powerful. Because yet again, and then going back, especially like for black men, we're stripped of power in so many different ways. So you do have, and that goes right back into the last video that I did on negrophilia, that's why you do have black men sometimes pandering to these roles of the domineering black man. And in a lot of these sexual situations, I mean, like we see in the Adam 22 situation going on right now. Adam 22, a fan of FB's videos, of course. Sorry.
Fan of the show.
Yo, so I didn't know he was, you know, a kind of a weird guy, Jace. And then I saw he then when it was like was it Destiny versus Richard Spencer? He had a video.
Versus,
that's when I was
it wasn't versus.
Yeah, they on teams.
They weren't fighting. They were not fighting. They were talking about Joe Biden.
Yeah. It was him, Destiny, and Richard Spencer having a conversation about race, and I was like, oh, this is bad.
No go.
And so I feel like I DM'd him like, yo, I will come and have a real conversation with you about these things. But then after that, he had on Nick Fuentes. I was like, okay, this is clearly a pattern.
And I think, like, honestly, like Adam 22 and what is it, Lena? That's a marketing strategy, which still in that case is kind of grimy, because I mean, even though Jason is a black performer, a black porn star, even though he is literally being exploited, that is his job, and at least he's exploiting his dick. Like, but I hope he got paid. I hope he got paid by Adam 22 and Lena, because they're low-key exploiting the cuckoldry. Like, they're exploiting the optics of it and the revelry of the situation, and being like, oh Adam, oh my god, you could be inside the corner of the hotel room while your girl getting excavated like a hole in Minecraft. But like, the fact of the matter is, like, Jason, in my opinion, is still the one that is being he's the one bolstering this whole thing. I think Adam 22 and Lena will make the most money off of Jason in this case. Adam and all of them, man, let's bank off of that.
Yeah, it becomes human capital.
Yeah, I was supposed to jump on here for a little 20 minutes, say hello, say my goodbye, whatever the case may be. It was a pleasure. We'll do it again.
Actually, just like, I gotta go after that one.
Yeah, take care.
Gal was right there. All right. Gal was right there going saying this conversation is getting far too haram for me. You do have on dating apps, and I saw someone say like, get someone that actually has used dating apps to be on the stream. Like, I've used dating apps. Noah is like a dating app vet. No, from the back there said,
we met on a dating app, so yeah, that works.
Well, there we go. Like, yeah, so like, give us, like, if there was some actual tips, in my opinion, as it pertains to it, going back to like the principle that we're talking about, in trying to find a compromise between what works as it pertains to getting engagement from the people that you want to engage with on dating apps, what works for that, as well as what doesn't debase you as a person. Noah, what do you think? What's success? What's been successful for you on the dating apps then?
I've talked about it a bunch before, but Hinge, the dating app Hinge, there's like voice prompts you can do. And I think other apps might have that now. And now you can do video prompts as well. Like, you can like TikTokify your own. That's
going to be abused.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, it's not great. I don't know how they filter out videos that are just, you're not supposed to, like, you know, making your app Pornhub, like an amateur Pornhub account. But I think that is like a new opportunity and like digital construct to market yourself, is just like being, you know, a little silly, being funny, saying something that I don't know if you could like be smart in that. That would probably be a little cringe, but like, just, yeah, that's one thing. Being like creative, doing something that's different, and then just the other basic, like it's there's not that much advice that people haven't heard, which is like, take decent photos. Don't be like blurry in a dark room in the corner without a shirt flexing or something. Just like try to ask, like, I don't know, your friends, the women in your life, what they think of your photos and your profile. It says blue pilled as it is, be yourself, but also if yourself is if you're kind of like a dickhead, I guess you wouldn't really know it, but people will notice, and potentially if it's not working, like if you're swiping all the time and it's not working, then try different things. They also have like weird stuff with the algorithms that'll tell you which of your photos perform the best, like which when they get to a certain photo, the percentage of swipes and stuff like that. But all of that is to say, just like, there's not that much to it. It's like, it's a very grim place to be on the apps because of like the percentage breakdown of the user base for guys, basically. But yeah, I guess just be a little silly, be a little creative, be a little artsy, but above all else, be yourself. And I hate that's why I hate giving advice, because it just sucks to be like, you know, this is what you can do, this is how to do it. But I mean, yeah, that's all I would say about how to use apps, because yeah, I've used them, but I think anyone trying to tell you that there's one way to perfect the process, the algorithm, is just like a little, I mean, it's kind of just like, do that, sure, but go outside too and try to make friends. But yeah,
and like, it's also, and going back to like what you said earlier about like when you message, like especially like when you message people, if you finally get to the matching part, and like what works as messages versus which don't, because like you often get like into the same situation. Like if you're sliding into DMs, you get to like this kind of trapeze of how you can kind of gamify them into caring about you. Like you don't want to text too much, you don't want to text too little, you want to say particular words, and of course, yet again, like there isn't necessarily a string of words, a sequence of words that will always work. But I think like it's very important to be explicit. And when I say explicit, I don't mean like in the content way, but I mean like straight up letting people know what you want as it pertains to like, are you on this app for a hookup? Are you on this app for a long-term relationship? Are you on this app for like just fun? Like what are you here for? Because I think like what ends up happening, yet again, going back to what folks will be doing in general, is trying to trick people into getting what you really want. When yet again, and as we speak in like in binaries, women enjoy sex just as much as men.
Caveat. I've seen like thousands of those photos where a guy matches with a girl and then he says, "Let's fuck." And so don't do that. But also, at some point.
Well, yeah, not like that.
Yeah, I know you're not saying that, but like, like, obviously feel out the conversation and at some point have the intentions and boundaries conversation. But yeah, I 100% agree with what you're saying. But
and even like, yeah, don't put it like in your bio, just like only here to fuck. Like, I mean, like you could only want to fucking also be charismatic. You could also be like endearing and a lot of folks, and not only that, but like in hookup culture, like there's this like weird unwritten tacit rule that like you have to discard people afterwards or discard them in general or be extremely transactional with it. And I'm not sure how we are sure patriarchy, but like you don't have to do that. Like you can not be a dick and still give or get dick. Like, and that's it. Like, it doesn't have to be the situation where you have to disrespect this person afterwards. Like, you have to, like, you can do a lot more. Oh my God, they're saying do reads for Jesse and everything like that. But that's the fact of the matter. Like, you can be charismatic, you can be friends with this person and also engage in hookup culture, like, in a particular way. You know?
I don't have a lot to add to this because I met online dating for me when I met my wife was MySpace. So like I don't have a ton for that. The tactical, the tactical element I don't have a lot for. But I will say I think one thing that I think is universal is decide what you're on the app for.
Yes.
You know, like are you thirsty on the apps for validation? Are you thirsty on the apps because you're looking for like and really digest that, because that's going to dictate one your strategy, right, for like how you present yourself on the apps, but two, it can probably do a lot to alleviate your levels of desperation, the energy and vibes you're giving off. Because one thing I know is universal is that women want to be with, whether that's sexually or just like intimately or partnership, like fun, interesting men. You know what I'm saying? Like, and like you can't be that if you're desperate. You can't be that if you're thirsty. You can't be that if you're bitter. You can't be those things. And those are probably when people are like, I imagine that when people are like really struggling with matches, a chunk of that is the air of desperation and the bad vibes that are coming through and how you present in these apps. And so self-interrogation is probably a really useful thing to do before and during getting into these app spaces.
Yeah, that's perfect.
Yeah, like the experience of these guys like swipe all day, finally getting a match. All that stuff that happened before isn't great for your psyche in terms of being like chill and normal and having a conversation. It's like I'm finally here. What do I say? Like like your phone like made a notification and you sprint over like it's like Christmas morning, and then you see it and you're like there is like potential just goes through the ground. Yeah, it's gone. So that's like a really good point. Just like think about that beforehand, I guess.
Yeah.
And that comes also from like this, I don't want to say evolutionarily, but like this predisposition that like a lot of men I've encountered think that if I mess up with this one woman, that is it for my lineage. Like I will be denied women for the rest of my life. They will talk about me and they will tell all of their women friends that like I am not worthy of any type of anything and I die. That's and that I'm not sure where that comes from. I've heard like rumors about that coming from basically caveman days and just being like what a lack of supply of mates. But the point of the matter is trust me, like what one won't, someone else will. Trust. Like there's countless, the whole idea of soulmates and everything, like as nice as that sounds, there's a bunch of different configurations for couples in today's society. Trust me, you will be able to find someone else. There's not this one person out there. There's not this one, you're not a key that fits only one hole. As bad as that sounds. It can very well be a litany of other doors. This analogy is going.
This is why you said you could have been a black Bishop hero and made all the money. Because it's so easy.
Man, it just rolls off the tongue. This is another one from Noah, and then we're gonna get into some Q&As. The problem with black pill.
Right, some of you are not going to like this one, but I think it's important to address. I do everything I can to empathize with men. I don't think masculinity is toxic. I think men are incredibly important and vastly underappreciated. I've heard every story to back up your obvious struggles in the dating world. But the one thing that I can't wrap my brain around is this black pill pessimism where you
I'm just looking at the comments here. Lol, you're not a guy you'll never understand. We used to, but we gave up. I don't even talk to women anymore, and it's brought me peace. Yikes. When you get to this point where you're saying like not talking to women has brought you peace, like it's to a point like where it's very difficult to get you back out of that.
I struggle with the black pill stuff a lot, and let's let her finish. I want to see what she's gonna say before I give a take.
All right.
Really check out of dating. I really don't like to attack you guys because I already know the laundry list of fears. Women will cheat in a multitude of ways. They're selectively feminine and super entitled these days. The family court system is stacked against you. I get all that, but here's my question. Why are you letting women have this control over you? I sort of get it if you're an older guy who's already felt the pain of divorce and trying to raise your kids from afar, but if you're young and single, this doesn't add up. Checking out a dating basically means you either don't want a family, which if every man adopted your stance, the human race would go extinct, or you plan on having children with women you don't see and don't love. And in that case, you've been contributing to the bottom of this issue that I know you mock women for on these platforms. So staying single might bring some temporary peace, but is that really worth a life of loneliness and no children to leave behind? All right, some of you...
Yo, no, play that again.
You think it's gonna work the next
not
time?
going to like...
So the pick me thing.
Yo, this is wild, son.
It's all over. Like, no way you find this girl.
But I want to be productivity focused because we could drag her for another hour off whatever that was.
Rapid
She ended up at fatherless daughter epidemic. Anyway, all right, so yo, I was expecting like maybe normal, like centrist. I'm one of the, I'm not like other girls maybe stuff.
Pick me.
I wasn't expecting like this weird Handmaid's Tale pitch that she gave.
Dystopian,
Reproduction.
think about the children.
Yeah.
Everything is about reproduction.
Yes, that was different. So, but I say all to say, I struggle with the black pill stuff, and so this is like, feel free to cook me on this if this is a bad take. I low key don't think anybody should be giving advice to black pill dudes that has anything to do with dating. Any person that is at the black pill stage and needs genuine mental health intervention, like social support intervention, that has nothing to do with like, because like I don't want you to go from black pill to a girlfriend at all. That is not good for you. That's not good for whoever you started dating. Like you need to go from black pill to getting your life together to functional adult human than to a girlfriend. And so like when I see like I'm not dating anymore and I'm so much more happier, I'm like, good, keep doing that until
things start running.
Until things start changing, and then talk to me.
Yeah, that like this is because I mean like I'm trying to figure out what is she trying to say, because she said a lot, and like she tried to countermand. She first tried to empathize with the Black pillars, then she tried to come at the Black pillars, and then she kind of ended with this middle ground, like, okay, I get it, like we suck as women collectively, all of us, every last one of us suck. However, think of the daughters and the fatherless daughters epidemic.
Yeah.
She came at the Black pillars by totally validating their worldview, by telling them everything you're saying is correct, but you need to get over that because you need to reproduce. You need to get over that. And notice how all that is framed. You need to reproduce, and you need to not contribute to the thing that you're correct about, which is fatherless women. And, you know, obviously that's the problem, not the men leaving. So like all of this is so one directional, but it's framed as a critique, but it's not, obviously not. It's just saying, guys, I'm with you. You're correct, but you know we got to get some stuff done. So come on, let's stick with it.
How are we going to have more white babies if you guys start having children?
The future of the white, may as well be saying
that. I was waiting on that. I was waiting on the future of the white race depends on you, because I was like, "Ooh, is it like?" I know that was in there because only it's unspoken. Right, yeah, because because only Spartan women can have Spartan babies.
Oh Lord,
she's in those podcast clips. She's on that podcast, the one with the whatever, all the time. And yeah, she's probably Leonidased up in some of the YouTube shorts. But yeah, it's wild, man.
It's painful to see, but I mean, like when you like, and you've covered Black Pill content like pretty like extensively, Noah. And I don't know. One, I don't know how your algorithm will ever recover. I hope you're using a burner account, because like your algorithm will never recover from all of the copious amounts of Black Pill content that like you consume in order to watch this. You've been stripped away of your bisexual lighting by these pills, and like I worry about you because you used to look like Grimace, and now you're just. Yeah. So I mean, like the fact of the matter is, like, how like what's the theme? Like, what is basically for those who aren't intimate with Black Pill stuff? Like, what is their spiel? Like, why you heard Blue Pill, you heard Red Pill introducing Black Pill? Why?
Black Pill is. I mean, there's various iterations and forms and levels of extremity, but Black Pill is at its base the decision to acknowledge your flaws and understand that those flaws totally excuse you from finding love, that those flaws are so deep and so socially reinforced, as in if you're a 3 out of 10 on the scale, you will never get a Tinder match. You're not going to ever get a Tinder match, and ergo, don't even try. Don't even swipe. You're just going to be disappointed. You're going to be wasting your time. Focus on yourself, kind of, but also take along with you all of that internal validation as to why people hate you for your ugly. And usually it's because, you know, women are shallow or women are entitled, all the things she just speed ran. And so it's sort of like doomerism, but with a kind of wild sort of, it's a doomerism with a not sprinkle, it's like doomerism and misogyny combined to make people that just are like even more socially reclusive, and specifically framed at dating. So I guess there's that. But then in the more extreme, there's it like dips into incel territory. And then like when you're an incel, all of that, like Elliot Rodgers' manifesto, that's a Black Pill manifesto, because it's all of these factors make me make the world stacked against me, but you know, and now I'm gonna go shoot a bunch of people, but you know, very few of them come to that conclusion, but the ones that do will have that same logic, you know.
The funniest thing about Elliot Rodger is that he's clearly an attractive guy. like Elliot Rodger,
rich, all of
Right, Elliot Rodger. Maybe if K-pop would have hit earlier and he'd have understood an aesthetic to attach himself to. He also had like he also had like a lot of stuff. I actually did issues. Like half of my dissertation is talking about Elliot Rodger. And I don't make the K-pop joke in the dissertation, not dissertation, thesis. But like, so that's one of the things, that's one of the reasons why the black pill stuff kind of confounds me, because I think it's intersecting. So I'm theorizing. I want to be careful here. I had one of my favorite videos that's like a response video to me is this guy that did like basically an autistic reading of my manosphere video, and basically talked about the fact that I'm describing some explicit experiences with autism in my manosphere video without saying autism, which was, he read me for filth there, because that was very true. And like, I don't feel very confident in my takes around autism to like speak on it with a level of certainty in terms of how it intersects with online communities and people who are apt to get sucked into red pill stuff, and how that intersects with social inefficacy, and then dating, and then all these other things. So it becomes, and that's kind of why I would say, like with the black pill thing, it becomes so much more and going back to Elliot Rodger was on the spectrum. So it becomes like so much more than just looks maxing and, you know, self-help, when we're also talking about like social dynamics bigger than just how do I get girls to like me, and bigger than just being resilient towards, you know, rejection and failure, which is what a lot of the black pill stuff comes down to. So yes, I don't know. I'm kind of just rambling here because I just want to tease out the fact that there's, with them in particular, and also with the manosphere as a whole, because I would argue, I don't have any data for this, so feel free to drag and correct me in the comments, but I would argue that so much of the activity in these spaces is driven by the chronically online of the world, which then we also know has a lot of sections with neurodiversity, with neurodiverse people, and so there's a whole conversation about like mental health and ableism and social interactions that we don't even ready to have yet, because like we don't even know how they fit. And we're probably not the people, even though I do like see myself as neurodiverse, I don't know enough about, I don't feel like I don't have a lot of confidence in speaking through that lens as it pertains to this. And we kind of need to find the people that do and see what they have to say about it. Lately Girl is like blows it up, and then you have this existential explosion in that moment, and I was like, this is just good fucking art.
Yeah, no,
I'm concerned about you, but the art was really good.
Yeah, like it was like something. I was just like, okay, I consider this person to be a friend. I was just like watching it. I was just like, Noah is producing this at a rate, and I'm thinking of the back end. Like I'm thinking of like,
right, because we know what it's like.
I don't have an editor. Like
exactly. You still edit for
the competition point, not competition, but the framing. It was loosely around. Okay, Hassan will upload once, twice a day. Those videos do well. Let's see, like he'll take a news story or a small thing and then make a video about it where he's talking about it on stream. Like it's a lot of work. It's an unrealistic standard to have without an editor. I still am super apprehensive about hiring an editor. I'm not really sure why. I think it's like a little bit, I'm conceited, and then I'm also like, I don't know, there's some weird thing about exploitation, blah blah blah. But that's like, I just haven't even thought about it. So
I definitely shout out to Zaspin in the chat. But this video is so good.
That's how I feel. I'm gonna like, I feel like, shout out to like That's for the Birds inside the chat. Real quick, let me see what this person's saying. I don't believe femcells are real. The concept does not make sense because women tend to have an easier time getting partners. I'm open to correction. I'm glad that you're open to correction.
I've been interested in this because of a certain person who has made this their thing, and I've tried to make sense of it. I think there's like femcells in like the concept of all this shit is stupid, and I don't like it. Let me start with that, right? I don't like the concept of incels either. So I want to be clear. But it's almost like, why are we trying to create a gendered binary between misanthropic behavior? You know what I'm saying? Like a club. Yeah. Like it just doesn't seem like a thing that should be being done. We can talk about like loneliness and struggling relationships and struggling meeting people, which is something women definitely can have. But creating this like
all right, guys,
weird label and
I'm super tired, but I also need to do some editing, so I'm gonna get going. Thanks everyone for joining us. We will be back again bright and early tomorrow morning. We love you. Thanks for watching. Subscribe on YouTube, hit that bell, and follow us on Instagram. See you tomorrow. Have a good night.